Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the MetsXMFanZone live podcast, home of your everything New York Mets. If you guys love our shows, you guys can always tweet, like, and subscribe, and to get more of your New York Mets news, you guys can share and follow us live right here on the MetsXMFanZone live podcast. Today we got a really good show for you guys. We're going to be giving you a two-part live series here today. We're gonna be going live on all of our social media platforms. We are live right here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and also on TikTok. We're not live on TikTok. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. But we're not live on TikTok. We will be going live on TikTok at 9 o'clock. So stay tuned so that way we can give you all of that details. We'll have it live on our platforms as we get ready into the live stream. But this is for all of our YouTube members, our Facebook members, our Instagram, and our X. And we're going to be giving you all of that info for today's live stream. If you guys are new to our channel and or current members of our channel, my name is Anthony Gennaro. I am a ghostwriter and writer for MLB, and also was a ghostwriter for the New York Mets for 7 years, and I was a MLB ghostwriter for 12 years. Been in the game for a very, very long time here. But so I'm going to give you tonight our analysis and our tips and tricks on how to bet in today's game matchup for the New York Mets versus the LA Dodgers series. This is a 4-game series. The New York Mets are going to be playing the Los Angeles Dodgers for a 4-game game series. And I'm going to give you guys my top predictions in this matchup. If you have watched our shows, we are sponsored by SPM Apparels, which is an apparel company that gives you all of your New York Mets gears and whatnot. And you guys can follow them and check them out on Amazon, Mercari, YouTube Shop, Facebook Shop, Instagram Shop. They're on all of those platforms, and they give 50% off all Mets merchandising. But also here in our live stream, we would like to thank the New York Mets for allowing us to do these, because I mean, nothing better than getting permission from them. So if you guys are big time of MetsXMFanZone community, we give you all the Mets insights, betting tips, and articles and latest news. We also give you Mets live streams 24/7 on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.org. It is the ultimate fan hub of Met for Met fans. We give you 24/7 Met live streams with no TV providers, no pop-ups, no advertisements, and no TV providers. And we give you all of that coverage on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.org. And it's only $12.99 monthly, which if you subscribe to our blog and our articles and our news, you guys also get the benefit of live streams. So you'll get the live streams in with our blog coverage. So you guys can check that out in our show notes down below. So let's get into today's game matchup. Now, again, if you are a first-time bettor or if you're learning to bet in this matchup, just so you guys know, as a disclaimer, everything that you hear in our live stream today is for educational purposes only. It is not if you bet wins and losses, we are not held accountable for any actions that take place if you lose on the bets. We give you tips and tricks and predictions, but I do my suggestions and whatnot. But if you take them, it is at risk to you. So, enough with that being said, let's get into today's game. Now, again, if you are betting on BetMGM, FanDuel, Fanatics, Bet360, all these apps, I always give everybody a strategy on how to bet on these games. Now, I always say bet on player props. That's a number one key. And why do I say bet on player props? Is because it gives you a little bit more run for your money. You get a little bit more of 1,000% of a better chance of winning. And by doing that, it gives you not a mixed parlay. You know, a lot of, if you look on the apps, you'll see like where you have to do a mixed parlay and you got to go on different selections, and then you bet on that. But you might make more money by doing that. But the only problem is with that is if you bet on player props, you make more money than you would on a mixed parlay, because it's a 20% shot that you're actually going to win on a mixed parlay. It's not a definite that you're going to win on it. But I do suggest, if you are going to bet in today's game, always bet on player props. So, that's kind of like a little bit one of a strategy. Now, let's go into today's game card. Now, I'm going to read you guys both lineup cards. We're going to start from the right side, and we always go with the opposing team for the Mets. And then we go with the Mets card, and then what I'll do is I'm going to be giving you my top 3 picks. I'm going to start with pitchers. We're going to go from strikeouts. We're going to go from innings pitched. We're going to go with how they pitch from the left side of the plate and how they pitch from the right side of the plate. And then you can analyze it any way you want to. But I will be giving you my selections for this matchup. And plus, I watch enough video to know on these pitchers, so you guys will be able to see on where I go with my selections. So, but also, if you are watching the streams, you could pause it. But if you would like to see all of everything that I talked about today, you can go to our website at MetsXMFanZone.org. You can go into our blog, and we have a whole big listing of the players I selected and everything that we talked about in this live stream. So you'll be able to select it by going into our blog on MetsXMFanZone.org. We give you bet predictions, tips, and tricks on how to do that on these betting apps. And also, it is a disclaimer that everything that you hear is for educational purposes only. It is a risk to you, and if you lose, bets and losses do not fall on the perimeters on us. It is a risk to you. So, let's go with today's game card. Now, we got on the mound for the New York Mets. Well, first off, we got the New York Mets versus the LA Dodgers. This is a 4-game series. We got Paul Blackburn on the mound for the New York Mets. And we got Dustin May on the mound for the LA Dodgers. Today's game does go live at 10:10 at Dodger Stadium, and it is a live stream. Now, it is 8 o'clock in New York. Well, what is it, 8:25 in New York? And here in LA, it's about 6:25 here in LA. So, if you are watching the stream, we are a little bit behind you guys. It's 3 hours of delay, so we are going a little bit earlier than expected in the stream. All right, so let's go with the pitchers for today's game. Now, we got Blackburn. He is making his season debut for today's game. He was on the injury list coming into the season. He is now starting his first final game for today. He's just on all zeros. For Dustin May, he's 3-4 with a 4.20 ERA and 58 strikeouts. So, how am I gonna determine this matchup for today? Now, I would select going with Dustin May as a possible 50-50 split. Why I say on a 50-50 split, I mean, he is coming off of a bad outing last time he was pitching. But from the New York Mets, he didn't have a good outing when he pitched against us the last time around, which is in the playoffs. So how am I going to determine what I've seen so far out of him in the last upcoming couple of starts? The last 2 starts that I did end up watching was his sweeper. His sweeper is not on command. However, his curveball is a little bit on demand, so he might be able to throw a lot of the curveball against our hitters in today's game. But right now, our hitters are coming in very hot into the series. Top key guys to really look out for is Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Brett Beatty, and Francisco Lindor. These are the guys that would be a possibility of slamming this guy today, because coming from the left side of the plate in this matchup, because we got both righties on the mound, is batting at combined at 690. So with three batters. Now, it comes down to how this pitching matchup is going to work out. So I would select him to go with at 8 Ks for him in today's game. It kind of goes with uncombined throughout the whole 5 innings. I mean, he could very well go under. They have him a little bit on the over at 8 Ks on the over. I kind of want to stick on the under and just go at 6.5 just to be on the safe side. But I do think that if he's going to go and pitch against Juan Soto, or if he's going to pitch against Pete Alonso, these both guys' ERAs are at well over at 330. So tend to watch out here, because these are 2 guys that are right now starting to get a little bit hot right now. And if he narrows and throws the fastball very high and in on both batters, there could be a slugger fest in today's matchup. So I am undetermined on how May is going to pitch today. But again, he could get very rattled very early if he doesn't narrow in on the slider. We know on how good he's successful with the slider, but if he's not successful and tends to throw out a target, he could get in trouble very early against our top hitting in the rotation. So I am definitely going to go at 8 Ks and go at 6 innings plus. Now, with Paul Blackburn, I don't have really much of an estimate that I would say for Paul Blackburn right now, because he is coming off the injury. So I'm probably going to put him on a very rocky start. Carlos Mendoza did say in a press meeting that he is going to probably go at least 4 innings plus. So having it at 4 innings plus, they don't want him to go over 70 pitches, which is fine. They're saying that this might be a bullpen game today. So a lot of pitchers will be on deck. Now, two possible pitchers that are not available for today's game would be Reed and also Edwin Diaz. So we might see a little bit deeper into that bullpen today with maybe Stanek or maybe Razabon. So those are going to be 2 guys to probably see in this matchup. But going with Garrett Reed and then going with Edwin Diaz, these 2 guys will probably not be available. We know Carlos Mendoza did mention in a press meeting today with us that those guys will not be ready to go. So hopefully, I mean, they might. He also did say it could be a possibility to see Edwin Diaz, but he was pitching the last 2 nights in a row. Could very well, not see him in the rotation for today's game. All right, so now let's go. So I'll give you guys the total. So 4+ innings for Paul Blackburn, and then at 6 Ks, that could be a possibility. With May going at 6+ innings and go at 8 Ks. So now let's go with the lineup for today's game. And we have leading off for the LA Dodgers, We got Shinsei Otani, and he's DHing. Batting second and playing right field is Toscar Hernandez. Then we got for LA is batting third, playing first base is Freddie Freeman. Batting fourth and out playing center field is Andy Pagaz. Batting fifth and playing second base is Max Muncy. Then we got batting sixth and playing left field is Michael Conforto. Then we got batting seventh and playing second base is Tommy Edman. Then we got batting eighth and catching is Dalton Russian. And then we got batting ninth and playing shortstop is Hisakim. Hisakim. Very interesting name. All right. So now let's go with your 2025 New York Mets. Leading off and playing shortstop is Francisco Lindor. Batting second and playing left field is Brandon Nimmo. Batting third and playing right field is Juan Soto. Batting fourth and playing first base is Pete Alonso. Batting fifth and DHing in today's game is Jared Young. Batting sixth, playing third base is Brett Beatty. Batting seventh and playing center field is Tyrone Taylor. Batting eighth and playing second base is Jeff McNeil. And then we got batting ninth and catching is Francisco Alvarez. And that's your 2025 Mets versus the Dodgers. Today's game, 10-10 at Dodger Stadium. So now let's go with your betting odds and predictions for this one. So again, if you would like to get my betting odds and predictions and statistics, you guys could go onto our website at MetsXMFanZone.org, or if you want, you can stop and pause the live stream, so that way, if you're watching a recording, you can just pause it, and you can also just kind of listen on from here. All right, so here's my top 3 picks for both teams in this one. Now, again, go with player props. That's the biggest key here. Then we're going to go with our top picks, and then we'll go with hits, runs, over and unders. I know a lot of people like betting on those, so we're always going to go with the hits, runs, and over and unders, and then our top 3 picks. So, all right. Here is my number 3 pick for LA, and I'm going to go with Ha-Seong Kim. What I've seen so far out of Ha-Seong Kim this year is a little bit patient at the plate. One thing I've noticed and seeing his plate appearances is that he has a really nice angle with the fastball. And if Paul Blackburn doesn't get his strike zone very well, he could be a guy that could be very threatening. In this matchup, I'm not going to go with any home runs with him. I'm probably going to stay away from the home runs, but he does tend to give some RBI, so watch out with his hitting there. How I'm going to estimate this one, I'm going to go with player props, go down the line, and I'm going to go with 0 home runs. He is a threat around the base pad, so I'm going to go with 1 RBI. Stolen bases, he's not big in stolen bases, so I'm not really worried in that department. Then I'm going to go with singles. I'm going to go with 2 singles for him. And then with doubles, I'm going to go with 2 doubles in this matchup for him. And he would be my number 3 pick for the LA Dodgers. And again, that's player props. It's not a mixed parlay. I don't suggest people doing mixed parlays because, again, those don't work. 9 times out of 10, they never work. So go with player props. That's the strategy here. And it gives you a little bit more for your money. But just so you guys know, if you're doing a round robin, that would be the selections I would go with. I would go with Ha-Seong Kim with RBI, 1 RBI. singles, doubles, and then let it mix it for you. And I will go on a $25 bet on the round robins because you can make money off that. Because it'll mix it up and it'll give you a better strategy, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. But go strictly down the line and bet for each player. All right, so now let's go with my number 2 pick, and that would be Tommy Edman. One thing I've noticed out of Tommy Edman from the last start with the New York Mets is that he tends to hit on the fastball, and he does it quite often. He likes the ball very high in the strike zone, and if you give it to him, he's going to hit it out. I am going to suggest on this parlay for Tommy Edman, I would go with 1 home run. I would go with 1 home run on this matchup. Then I would go with 1 RBI. No stolen bases, but could have a possible stolen base if he gets on, because normally he does have some really good speed around the base pads. So that could be a very well projected that he could get on and then steal. Then I would go with 1 single. And then I would go with 1 double. All right, so now let's go with my number 1 pick for today's game, and that would be Tuskar Hernandez. What do I see out of him in this matchup? Is probably a lot of patience at the plate. He is a very good hitter. He's a dangerous hitter. You get the ball very down and low into the strike zone, he's going to launch it. You just got to be very careful. He's got to be very, very careful. Paul Blackburn, he hasn't really seen him as much, but in his plate appearances against him has been very good. So this could be a mix 50-50 split here because he has striked him out several times. But in the last 3 appearances against him, he's got 2 home runs against Paul Blackburn. So how am I going to determine this one? I'm going with 2 home runs for him. I mean, he's a threat at the plate. He's very good on the right side of that plate. He has a really nice angle at 119. His RISP is well over 365. His OPS, it has a really good average at 390, goes to 620. So he gets on, but he also can give you a lot of hits here. How am I going to determine this one? Again, with 2 home runs. Then I would go with 2 to 3 RBIs. Kind of determine on how I want to fall on this one. Then with stolen bases, 0. Go with goose eggs. Go with 1 single and 1 double. But he can be very threatening. He's a home run machine. He's a guy that will launch it out. Just be very careful how you bet it in this one. But if you are going to bet down the line, I would go with 2 home runs, 1 RBI, 1 single, and 1 double. Now, if you're going to go with any sort of hitter, any home runs, Tuskar, Edman, and Hassan Kim. Those would be definitely the guys to give out home runs for the Dodgers in this one. If possible, Freddie Freeman. But, I mean, Freeman and Ohtani haven't been really, really good against matching up with the Mets in the last couple of games. So I'm kind of going to go with no with those guys. So now let's go with the New York Mets. So let's start to wrap this up real quick. All right, so my 3 pick for today's game is going to be Brett Baty. Brett Baty has been starting to heat up with his bat. One thing I'm really liking so far out of him is being a little bit patient, but also starting to attack the strike zone. He's attacking it very early in counts. I'm liking that, and I'm liking on his urgency in swinging in 2-1 counts. He hasn't been really hesitant. How am I going to determine this one? I am going to see him hit for power today. Again, one thing that May doesn't want to do is do 2 things on Brett Baty. Is 1, with the curveball. He does tend to hit the curveball a lot and does tend to hit the slider. He likes the off-speed pitches, but he also likes the fastball. And every time when you throw the fastball to Brett Baty, he launches it out of the ballpark. Today's game, I'm going to go with Brett Baty to give me 1 home run in today's matchup. I will go with 2 RBIs. I will go with no stolen bases. I will go with 1 single, no doubles. But I think he's going to be very effective when it comes to power today. So I would expect to see Brett Baty to give me 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 0 stolen bases, 1 single. Don't worry about doubles. You only need doubles out of Brett. Now let's go with my number 2 pick for today's game. But before we do that, I would like to thank all of you guys for watching here in our show today. We are giving you all of your latest top picks, latest predictions in today's matchup. We got the New York Mets versus the LA Dodgers in this one. We got starting and debuting in today's game is Paul Blackburn. And for the Los Angeles Dodgers, we got we got on the mound Dustin May. Also for the LA Dodgers, looking really good. So hopefully we get to see what this matchup's going to look like. But we want to thank all of you guys for watching here. And if you are watching on all of our platforms, we are giving it to you live right here on all of our social media platforms. Tonight's game does go live at 10:10, but here in LA, it would be going live at 8 o'clock. So let's go with our number 2 pick in today's matchup, and that would be Francisco Lindor. Starting to heat it up, starting to look a lot better at the plate, starting to move and readjust himself. One thing I'm going to go with Francisco Lindor today is 1 home run. I'm going to go with 2 RBIs. I'm going to go with 1 stolen base, 1 single, and 3 doubles in this matchup. Again, he's very good from the right side of the plate. He's starting to hit a lot better right now. He's at 288, which if you're starting to see his numbers rise, and he's got well over 13, he's got about 13 home runs now. So 13 home runs with close to 45 RBIs. That's very impressive to say the least so far in the beginning half of this season. So Francisco Lindor is right there up on the top with Pete Alonso. But how I would go with this one is how I would bet it straight down the line for Francisco Lindor. So he is my number 2 pick for today's game. Now let's go with my number 1, and that's the polar bear himself, and that is Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is your threat. Always threatening at the plate. Absolutely has great stuff against right-handed batters. Right now, he's batting against right-handed batters at 250. That's probably one of the second highest in our Mets hitting. What am I going to see in this matchup? I'm going with Pete Alonso to give me a home run from the right side of the plate today. He's going to go with opposite field direction. He's always hitting for power, but you know what? He's been really being such a clutch player this year. I think the stress has been really not on him this year, too. It's been put a little bit on Juan Soto. But how I'm going to determine this one, if you are betting down the line on Alonso, here is my top selections. 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 0 stolen bases, 2 singles, 1 double. And that's how I would bet it straight down the line on player props. Now, if you do that and bet $25, you get an estimate of $390. That's $390 if you bet on Pete Alonso. If you bet for the selections on Francisco Lindor at 25, you will get $670. If you bet on Brett Baty down the line, you will get $400 at $25. if you bet for Toscar Hernandez at 25, you can get $7.60. If you go $25 on Tommy Edman, you could win $4.50. And if you go with Hassan Keem, if you bet on $25, you can get $9.70. And that's your picks for today's game. I want to thank you guys for watching. And always, we're giving you all of your latest Mets news, live streams, and much, much more. But today's game, we got the New York Mets versus the LA Dodgers. This is game 4. This is game 1 of a 4-game series. Today's game, we got, again, Dustin May on the mound for the LA Dodgers. For the New York Mets, we got Paul Blackburn for today's game. And now, let's give you our now final decision. We're going to go with hits, runs, over and under, and here is your final score. Now, hits in today's game, if you are going to bet on these selections, I would go with 28 hits, 6.5. If you're going to go on a 6.5 run point spread, I would go at 8.5. I would go on an alternate spread, go with 8.5. And if you're going to go on the over and under, I expect everybody to go over today for the Mets to win in today's matchup, 8-6. That's the final for today's game. So I want to thank you guys for watching. We're here on the MetsXMFanZone Live podcast, and we are giving you all of your Mets news, live streams, articles, and much, much more right here on the MetsXMFanZone Live podcast. You can see today's game on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.org with all of your latest live streams, news feeds, and much, much more with no pop-ups, no advertisements, no TV providers, just Met live streams 24/7. And you can get it all of that for just $12.99 monthly. You guys can check it out by going to MetsXMFanZone.org. See you guys soon.